to this TED Talk conversation in which we will be discussing Mr. Pinker's idea of the blank slate, uh, of Steven Pinker's book, The Blank Slate, named after the same idea, brought to you by John Locke many, many years ago. And well, what the blank slate is, and if it would be beneficial or perhaps not beneficial but possible for us to take today's education on this. Are there limitations? Would there be challenges, opportunities, or and benefits from this? Well, let's take a look at that. To begin with, there's the idea of the blank slate. What the blank slate is, established by John Locke many years ago. Sorry, I do not have the date, but it's the idea that we all have unlimited potential as a blank slate because there's no information on that. So, if the human beings were to have unlimited potential, the, it is to be taken not only on John Locke's idea that yes, it is possible because society has seen politics since John Locke has taken this consideration that there were kings, and why are kings established as kings if we all have the same potential? Do we all mean harm, or do we mean no harm at all to other human beings, or to any other being? What's going on the the human mind, on the psychological part, on the biological part, and on the social part, which is part of Pinker's discussion. I will strongly say that taking everything that it is mentioned throughout the book within a grain of salt, we may see the last late ideas on, well, to base education on this as a possibility. It will be possible for us to base education taking into account Mr. Pinker's consideration. But there are many factors that come to play into that. From the social part, there's morals and where morals came from. Uh, if it's from a divine idea, or is it merely social because there's the necessity of establishing morals? So, but why has that been a necessity? Established as well as the necessity to have a Leviathan, an immense power that we cannot defy. Is it really established and that's it? That's from the moral part. The, and other discussions about this would be uh, why people are born violent, if they are born violent, and what can we do about this. Other buttons which are mentioned as well throughout Pinker's ideas, mentioning well, yeah, two that I have merely mentioned, but there are five. Politics, everything about politics, the right wing, the left wing, conservatism, liberalism, and two main ideas on this. Violence as part of human nature, or is it part of human nature to be violent? Three, it will be gender, and how it has displaced somewhat the role of male and female into society, or can we use it to get together and bring a different discussion, or how has this discourse taken place? And last but not least, I'm sorry, no. The fourth one will be children and everything about nurture taking play into this, but also biology on the entire spectrum on development of human history, seen how children have been raised, on society role on this, and the biological part, of course, and arts as part of the expression of the human being. Taking into account politics, there are customs, there are values, and these values have been brought throughout history by humankind itself, uh, either from the religious part of history or from the societal part of human history. But there's a necessity of control. Uh, that's where conservatism takes the lead on saying that they will establish themselves to handle these matters as preserving customs. And liberalism taking place on the opportunity to defy established values and have the idea that we can be better or have better values for a better society on different perspectives. The one of the radical vision that there's nothing we can do and everything has been established as we know it, and utopic vision that says anti-utopic vision that says that we yes there's a possibility and we can get together and we all share as well as participate as part of a political well and have we all have political participation if we want. So there's of a possibility. Violence as part of humankind, if it is something we can defy once again, or is it something that we are born and nothing we can do about it? Uh, this, taking into account today's spectrum, will be to take into consideration that violence has changed and the way in which we perceive violence has changed as well because it's no longer a word of humankind against themselves, but actually a psychological part that has taken a crucial role on that. Uh, to mention a lot of stuff right now, it's not a display of power, but actually perhaps a mechanism of control, or to take into account that we all need to take into consideration nature and nurture uh, to do anything about all of the five buttons that Pinker has mentioned. There's a social part for gender and some consequences that I consider will be to take into account if we do not properly address the gender factor. It used to be male and female, but there's gender identity to be taken into consideration nowadays because of the of their participation as well. Uh, it is something totally new from what Mr. Pinker mentioned. Even though feminism is still ongoing and it is necessary, compulsory, crucial to take into account the opportunity for feminism to get together, but also to separate the idea that we all have the same, that we are all the same, but actually we are different, and that's what get us together from the feminism part of view. So if there's a feminist part of view, there will be the LGBTQ party as well to take into consideration this discussion, as they are they may or not be seen as he, she, their, or other pronouns to take into consideration their participation as well, and get to know that we all, or address that we are not all entirely equal, but the differences that makes us different, well, that makes us different, these differences help us to see how we can construct something for ourselves as part of the society. Get together, taking into account our differences, will be a consideration. Definitely not a limitation, but something to take into account. There are limitations if we were to take into account uh, the part of the discussion on politics, because Latin America Latin America has a different perspective on politics, not seen as conservative or liberal, but actually there are different spectrums of political participation, and political participation as we know it being more popular than, well, perhaps popular as we know it, than it used to be on 2002. And something that I will definitely mention from the part of the challenges, it's the fact that arts as we know it have been taken into a massive construction of arts, or to spend a lot into arts, to have arts as a giant market. But what for if it's not only a part of the necessity of human beings to express themselves? What's the message throughout perhaps what I would call a sexual revolution taking place into people's mind nowadays? Not entirely a sexual revolution, but the fact that some aspects from it, like sex, mentioned on many songs, on many displays of art, on the concept of aesthetic, uh, how has the concept of aesthetic grown together or a part of we as people who may or may not enjoy art. So there are many factors to be taken into account, which are not only the ones I mentioned, but it will be a pretty long conversation if I were to take into account all the factors. What I'm trying to say is that the hot buttons that are mentioned throughout the book are to be taken into consideration within a grain of salt, to within the possible limitations that there are in Latin American countries, because we are all part of the same world. We all have somewhat a political participation, but it is to strengthen uh, not differences, but actually to address everything that we know within the part of the, I'm sorry, within social critical thinking and speech analysis to take into consideration what Mr. Pinker says. But it will be properly managed. It will be pretty strong for education, taking into account that this addresses everything about human history, perhaps not all, but a big part of human history, and necessities that have that the humankind has had. So a right curriculum and properly addressing everything about social considerations will be possible to, well, would make possible to bring Mr. Pinker's idea of the Blank Slates book, uh, will make this a possible discussion on classrooms, and help us bring different aspects on about everything